Well, welcome. Don't know who's here yet, but if you are new to Life of Lucretia, thank you for checking us out today. And if you're a returning friend, thank you for checking us out today. All right, so let me switch gears here. Charv Hart, if you're still in the room, hello, thank you for showing up. And I think it's a great subject too. So I don't know what you think. I'm not sure what I think, but what I do know about this subject is very little. No, I have some ideas. The first idea is I don't trust any government who tells me there is nothing there, there's nothing to see here. Mm-mm, I don't trust that. Any entity that tells me there's nothing out there, I think has something to gain from there being nothing out there. And usually that's money, one form or another, one way or another. But I do know people who have had experiences. I did not have a firsthand experience. I'm very close to two people who have had firsthand experiences. And they're people that have nothing to gain from having told me they had firsthand experiences. And they don't want to tell all you they had firsthand experiences, by the way, because there is a stigma associated with that. There is so much negative that can come down on somebody for having acknowledged that. So whether or not it's true, all I know is the people I know who have experienced this really seem to have the there's something there that says yes, something happened. Here's one thing that I know happened, and I believe it to be true. A person who's close to me watched little orbs, and no, they were not drinking or using other drugs. They watched little orbs bounce around in their I guess it would be their living room or their foyer area, and travel out the door. And first of all, it shocked this person, extremely shocked us. This is not a person who anyone would ever say, oh, that is a believer in UFOs, UAPs, anything extraterrestrial. No, they're not somebody people would say that about and would go, really? They experienced that if you met them and you knew them. And they watched these little orbs kind of float around in the room and then go out through the door. I don't remember if it was right through the door or it might have been through the crack in the door, where you open it, but there's nothing. It was a closed door, friends. And watched them kind of just float around, and they headed kitty corner to another house. He watched them go right through the garage door, a closed garage door. This is like 10 or 11 at night, at least in that time frame. So it was dark out, and it was easy to see these little floating orbs. Now, I have looked a bit into floating orbs. So here's what I also understand. So I understand a couple people who have had them, experiences with extraterrestrial type of things. My parents, one time, who were not even remotely believers in UFOs. My mother might have been was after this. My father still sat on the fence because he's a man of science, and he would not, very hard for him to believe anything, even right in front of him, that he could not explain. What happened is they were traveling on a dark road one night, and my mother said what happened is like their car is like heading this direction, and then something came down right on top of their car, she said it felt like, and it flew right in front of them, and then it kind of hovered. Then it was gone that quick. Now, yes, they might have been drinking at a party, but I don't believe that was from drinking. I'm just saying that was an experience that my parents had, and they still talked about it decades after it happened. And my father acknowledged, yes, it did happen. He wasn't quite sure what it was, and he didn't really want to have many conversations about it. So I don't know what to say about that. I don't know who else is here. I see there are 4 people, but I only see 1 in chat. So hello to the 4 that are lurking. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for stopping in. If you pop into the chat, so to speak, you don't have to speak. At least give me a thumbs up. I would appreciate that so much. So those are 2 that I know from people I know firsthand. I know these people are reliable. Alfonso, welcome to you. I'm so happy to see you. Hope you're doing well today, my friend. Those are 2 experiences that I know the people personally. There's another one I know very personally. I'm not quite sure what happened, so I'm not going to go into that. But I know they had a very real experience that caused them physical consequences as a result. And so, and that's also somebody that's completely trustworthy about what they say happened, because there's nothing to gain and only everything to lose. I'm going to share a few things here. I was looking, and I don't know why this came to my mind. I had no plans for a live stream today. And if you don't mind, if I take 1 second, I'm going to let Kaylee know. Hello, Bud Files. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it. If you don't mind sharing this out on your own social media, let's get some few people in here maybe that have had experiences, because if you've had an experience, I'm going to be inviting people up later to talk about this on panels. But I do really quickly want to send an email to Kaylee, because that's or a message. Let's see, Kaylee. All right, so I got a message out to Kaylee. I need to turn my phone all the way down. And I think I'm going to bring up my YouTube channel so I can just watch it from afar. You know what? It's really weird. YouTube has been responding oddly to me ever since I put this thumbnail up to have this. It's not even allowing me to go to my channel. It's not allowing me. I'm not being allowed to go to my own channel here on my phone. All right. Well, you want to play like that? Don't stop me. I'll just pop over. Well, I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to leave it alone. I'm going to see if I'm still having trouble actually here on my computer. We'll go to my channel. So this afternoon, something just struck me. I don't know why. It's not like I spend all of my time, a quarter of my time, a tenth of my time thinking about UAPs. But I thought something triggered me, and I thought, I got nothing better to do today. Let's talk about UAPs, friends. And that's where we're at. All right, so I'm just going to watch from a distance my YouTube channel as well. All right, so I'm going to share a couple of things that I found about this. And I think I probably heard something on the news, and that's what made me go, one of my BFFs, he is very involved in studying this for years. Somebody I could trust emphatically, and that is what triggered me. That's right. That's his fault. All right, so I'm going to share something here on screen. I was going to go over a few different things that I found, because, again, I am not a specialist about this. And I think many of us have seen what some of the things that I'm going to share here. But this is UAPs. These are, I believe, the little Tic Tacs that they.
Oh, bro. There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude. That's not our LNS, though, is it? It's not.
That is an LNS, dude.
Well, if there's
Look
like
at that thing.
it's rotating.
It was not from this world, is what he said. It was not from this world. I find it very interesting that a fighter pilot who has been up in the sky a lot of his life or her life, one of them I know was a female, would say it's not of this world. I think they're fairly reliable people. What do they have to gain? I know that I've read a couple of stories about this, and there was one of the people that was present during that. He did not want to come forward because of the implications for his job as a fighter pilot, that he could be seen or potentially evaluated as somebody not fit to do that job, protect our country in a jet flying overhead, because he saw UAP. I believe eventually did come forward. Let's see. I've got something else here to share as well. So apparently today, NASA will be unveiling a report. Tomorrow, I think it's tomorrow, the 15th. It says here, now officially known as unidentified anomalous phenomenon. Could they get it more kind of what weird sounding? UFOs have certainly long captivated our curiosity. NASA commissioned a study team in 2022 to investigate such hard to easily classify reports. And tomorrow they're revealing the highly anticipated findings at a media briefing. The scarcity of high-quality observations of UAPs defined as objects in the sky that are inconsistent with known naturally occurring phenomena or aircraft make scientific conclusions about their nature rather impossible. So NASA assembled an independent team of 16 scientific, aeronautic, and data analytic experts with the primary goal to advise NASA on UAPs from a logical and scientific perspective. I'm going to leave this article down below. So that is tomorrow. I know I'll be waiting with bated breath for this, because what does NASA have to say about that? What do you think about NASA's NASA's observation of this? Do you think that there will be any issues with the truth coming out? What do you think there might be at stake for them, meaning the government, NASA, any of the people that work in that area of life, of life, extraterrestrials potentially being real? I can't even imagine people are talking about this so openly, but at the potential for extraterrestrial beings to be a part of our life. What do you think about it? Is it how possible, as a range from 1 to 10, 10 being they are here today working at the McDonald's, you just don't recognize them as such, or it is not 0 being it is we are fools to be talking about this? Are you somewhere in the middle? Or are you towards the top? Again, I think there's something. I believe there's something, because the people I know who've experienced the somethings are people that I would trust for the most part with my life. They're smart people. Let's see what else we have here to share about this whole conversation. So here's some footage of that the Pentagon unveiled of UAPs. Let's see. I stopped it, I thought, right at the right place, so we didn't have to waste time. Taking a second, but it's there. I know.
Finally, there's a better choice to keep your business connected. With T-Mobile for Business, our internet and voice bundles saves you more than 30% versus big cable. Setup only takes minutes. And seamless collaboration across your people and devices is as easy as it gets. Add mobile for even greater value and get the most out of America's largest 5G network. Switch to the Better Choice bundle and save.
All right, now we'll go full screen.
You'll see it come through the top of the screen. There it goes. And then the camera will slew to follow it.
This newly declassified U.S. government video of a UAP, or unidentified anomalous phenomenon, was filmed by a military drone in the Middle East in 2022. UAPs are more commonly known as UFOs.
This is essentially all of the data we have associated with this event from some years ago. That is an unresolved case we are still studying.
The director of Pentagon's new All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, the AARO, shared the video during a U.S. Senate committee hearing.
How many are still left to be resolved? Just an update from your January public report where it was 366 or something, and about 150 were balloons and about 24 were drones.
We are tracking over a total of 650 cases.
650 cases. What? Just a moment, please. Okay. Did that look like a balloon to you? Because it did not look like a balloon to me. I do not know a balloon that can fly that fast. I don't know what it is. I don't know why they're there. I don't know, I don't think any of us really understand the answers, let alone all of the questions to ask. I mean, is there a question that you would ask of the government or the people who are investigating this phenomenon? Is there anything that you would think, I would like to know this about the process, or about, the process of how they're investigating it, about one of the things I always look at. Okay, here's something to always look at. If there's a story, for instance, that I'm going to read, I always look at who is the storyteller and what do they have to gain from one perception or the other of the story. Alfonso, I remember seeing a UFO encounter in El Paso, Texas, back in December of 1996. We were traveling, from Mexico. At the time, traffic on the freeway came to a complete stop. People got out of their cars at the time. Wow. What do you think, Alfonso? I mean, that's a pretty big deal. That's a pretty big deal to actually have seen one. Like I said, I personally have never seen one. But I know people who have reliable, excuse this travel mistakes here. I didn't have time to take that off of there. And to be honest with you, I'm having a hard time remembering where it went on at, where in my, it's really frustrating me because I can't remember how to change it. And that's honest to God's truth. And there's a lot of pieces to this whole thing of YouTube and StreamYard and blah, blah, blah. And sometimes I quickly do stuff. And then here we are. I don't remember. And I've changed it many times, obviously. So, anyways, please excuse this. Let me look up here. I don't know. And I don't like having to say I don't know. I was scared at the time. I was afraid that it would beam us up and take us away for good. I bet you were. I bet you were. That's just an amazing, horrible. It must have been so as an adult, I might feel, especially knowing that there's this thing, you know, that we don't understand, and the idea that it could take us, because it's been kind of related that way. And there are people who have said, and I don't know if it's something they actually remember or if it's an after the fact event where they remember having been taken up, medical things done to them, like probing, trying to figure out what we are, kind of like what we would be doing to them if we had one of them, potentially, which could have happened in New Mexico. Just saying. Let's check out and see what else I have here. Okay, this. So U.S. So this was July 27th of this year. U.S. recovered non-human biologics. U.S. recovered non-human biologics from UFO crashes sites, former intel officer says. Do you believe that? Really, if you believe it, you don't have to say anything. But if you feel like you want to, you can leave a thumbs up or leave a thumbs down. I don't care. I'm curious. Three military veterans testified in Congress, highly anticipated hearing, blah, blah, blah. Including a former Air Force intelligence officer who claimed the U.S. government has operated a secret multi-decade reverse engineering program of recovered vessels, which I've heard many people talk about. That it would take a long time to reverse engineer some of these things, like these little tic-tac objects that they've seen in the sky. We have nothing that can move in the same manner as quickly, especially as these things can like zoom away at the speed of light. It's very odd. So he also said that the U.S. has recovered non-human biologics from alleged crash sites. But while the topic of Little Green Men did come up, much of the discussion centered on improving processes for reporting unidentified aerial phenomenon, or UAP, the military's term for UFOs. There are also calls to remove the stigma from aviators who report UAP sightings and to ensure oversight government programs that investigate them. So retired Major David Grush, who went from being part of the Pentagon's UAP task force to becoming a whistleblower, told the House Oversight Committee National Security Subcommittee that he had been denied access to some government UFO programs, that he knows the exact location of UAPs in U.S. possession. So there is a hearing you can watch below. On Wednesday, Defense Department spokeswoman Susan Goff issued a statement saying the Pentagon's inquiries had not turned up any verifiable information to substantiate claims that any programs regarding the possession or reverse engineering of extraterrestrial materials have existed in the past or exist currently. She also alleged that the U.S. has retrieved, Grush also alleged that the U.S. has retrieved non-human biological matter from the pilots of the crafts, adding that was the assessment of people with the direct knowledge of the UAP program I talked to. So, do you think we have non-human biologics, or we have non-known, non-human-made aircraft of some sort that were reverse engineering? I mean, I find these things, and I'll put this in the information below as well. Let's see. We've got quiet listener. Oh, hold still. I need to stop sharing that. I was 12 years old. At the time, I was 7th grade. My family and I were traveling at the time to visit family in Mexico. I can only imagine how scared you were, Alfonso. Good day to you too, quiet listener. Glad you're here, Vicky. It's Aiden. Oh, is he here? It's Aiden Renard. Aiden Renard, if you're here, hello. That happens to be a grandnephew of mine. We just discovered each other's YouTube channels recently. Oh, there he is. It's Aiden R's YouTube channel, official. So he's a sweet, sweet young man. Seriously, one of the sweet ones. So if you're still here, Aiden, thank you so much. All right, let's see. We've got, there's Naj. Hello, Naj. Howdy to you. So glad that you stopped in. So do any of you have any opinions about, so we've had one person. We've had one person share. Again, apologies for the travel mistakes. I can't find how to get rid of that. Pretty sad YouTuber, wouldn't you say? Here we go. You know, I don't like, yeah, I've known since I was 10 that something is out there. Oh, absolutely, Victoria. Victoria is somebody that you could count on. You could count on 110% to be a truth teller. So I believe if she says that she's known for whatever the reason since 10 years old that something's out there, that something's out there. All right. And Aiden? Yep, that's me. Oh, cool. I'm so happy that you're here. I'm so happy that you're here. Oh, sweetheart, you are so sweet. Thank you for saying that. I have not got to see Aiden a lot. He lives elsewhere, but I am so happy that he's here, and I have checked out his YouTube channel. All right, so let's take a look at. He is really one of the sweet kids on earth. Very special. I know I have something else here. All right, this is from, the Library of Congress. Library of Congress has, obviously all kinds of things, every book ever written. I think we all understand the Library of Congress. So this is a resource where people can go and look up information and see what's there. And I just happened to run across this when I was doing some very quick research on this before the show. Because I think at least all of us that are adults and over 40 have seen something from our past about these, like this flying saucers attack. Fear mongering really is what it's about. That's the way I always saw it. I always thought they were here to do something bad. There are Martians among us. I remember the word Martians is what I remember. It's UFOs is contemporary folklore. So here was, let me see, I want to just, oh, in a mysterious light, and I listened to this guy, a segment of ethnographic interview. So for anybody who might not know what an ethnography is, an ethnographic interview would be just exactly what it says, ethnographic. We're going to get information based on your ethnic history for whatever the reason. Miller describes a strange light he once saw while hunting with his dogs in 1966. All at once, it was daylight. I listened to the audio of this. And I'm going to see. I'm just going to play that little bit.
UFOs and aliens among us. In the 1940s and 50s, reports of flying saucers and 50s reports of UFOs and aliens among us. In the 1940s and 50s, reports of flying saucers.
Okay, that's not what I wanted. So anyways, he was out with his dogs going hunting. It was like 2, 3 in the morning, and he was just getting out there, finding areas, whatever. And he said it was, all of a sudden, it was daylight. It was daylight. And I'll tell it from his words. Just once he's hunting, all at once it was daylight, and I looked up to see what happened. There was a light about that big going up, drifting up the hill. When I looked and seen it, just faded out. I've been in the Marines, and I know what airplane lights look like, and it was too big for that. When asked if he knew what it was, he offered, "I don't know what it was," but went on to explain, if there's any such thing as a UFO, that's what that was. This unexplained light on a walk in the woods is typical of many stories of these kinds of encounters. So that's kind of where it happened when my own parents saw something and fly over their car. It was that kind of, there was light. It was very bright and like blindingly so. And it flew over their car and just kept going off into nowhere. Linda Barker, welcome. So happy you're here. What can you do if you ever get abducted by a UFO? How can you get out? Or is that just going to take you straight to another planet? So I have talked with somebody that I know fairly well who claims that they were taken into an aircraft. And they were all of a sudden at some point, what seemed like minutes to them, as it turned out, had been hours when they came to, and they didn't, there was nothing physical on the outside, but they knew that they had been removed, and time actually said something is different here. They were gone for this period of time. So how would you get out? I don't think you can get out until they're ready to let you go. In my time, they tried to scare you with Bigfoot, not so much UFO. Oh, I love the idea of Bigfoot. And living in the Pacific Northwest, it's such a very much an idea. I'm not so sure. I think I'd like to believe there would be a Bigfoot out there, unless Bigfoot came and found me when I was sleeping. But the reason I don't believe there's a Bigfoot is because even though it's been described, so here's where I come in with aliens as well. There are petroglyphs. There are other things that show things like this, like flying saucers. There's very from Aborigines to every place in the world going back thousands of years. There's things that remind what we know today or consider today to be Bigfoot or aliens or an alien ship. They're on the writings on walls of 1,000-year-old places, thousands of years old. So who am I to say they did not see that? Aside from that, to my knowledge, nobody has ever found the bones of Bigfoot in the anywhere. There's no bones of Bigfoot, little Bigfoot, medium Bigfoot. And I'm being serious. I would love to have somebody found proof, but in my limited knowledge and understanding of the world around me, I think it would be very hard at this point to not have found the bones of a Bigfoot. Oh, I'm itching and I don't know why. Found the bones of a Bigfoot. Unless they are alien. Now that there's people talk about that. I don't know if I can wrap my head around that at all, but they see that as a possibility. I'm going to check on something here real quick. One of my sisters had surgery today. She had a new hip put in. And I just want to see, I'm just checking in on it to see how things are going. So it looks like her hip replacement went okay. Just sending a note. So, as people age, things happen. You know, she's about 6 or 8 years older than I am. So, yes. Let me see here what Linda says. Remember the book Communion? The book scared me. I had to put it face down on the table because the cover picture gave me the creeps. Communion. I don't know if I know about that book, Linda. Let me look it up here. Because there have been some books that have scared the crud out of me. Oh, here, I think I found it. I'm going to pull up the picture. Okay, Communion, a true story. All right, I think this is it. I think I got it. Communion, a true story. Whitley Strieber. So, yeah, that would kind of scare me too. Especially, I get scared at night of things. Sometimes I live in a house with 4 men: my husband, my son, and his husband. So there's 3 of them. There's 4 of us, and I have self-protection. Okay, so I have protection in my home, and a big giant German Shepherd. And I'll tell you what, sometimes I get up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, and I still sometimes just lock my bedroom door because I don't know what's out there. I don't know what's out there. There have been a lot of weird things happen in the world, and so I just try to protect myself every way possible. In 1976, I seen a pure white ball of light that started off being a star. So I talked about something similar. It didn't start out to be a star for this person, but it was definitely a ball of light that was bouncing around in this person's home, and it went out the door, through the door, or through the crack in the door, and over to a neighbor's house, and he saw it go right in through the wall. And this is not a crazy person. This is someone who saw something real. So that's that's a whole, there's a lot of people believe in Bigfoot. I'll tell you something. So I'm assuming that is the book that you saw, Linda. So it's not that the cover is so frightening. What the cover does is it makes us think about something that's out of our control that could certainly be we're made to feel like could be a threat to us. I get that. I really do get that. So here's a situation. My sister, who had her hip replaced this morning, man, that itches. I don't know what's going on. Oh, your copy had a face of an alien with big eyes. Okay, that's not the one I showed, so it's maybe a different one. But Brent, my son, was about a year old. He was in a walker. He was one of those little tiny short legs. He was in a walker. It was myself, Richard, our son, my sister Patty, and her first ex-husband, Stuart. And hello, traveling Nate Dog. So glad you're here. Thank you so much. And if everybody could give me a thumbs up, that would be really helpful through the analytics. And if you can share this out to your own social media or YouTube channel, would be really helpful to have some more people in here. Some different people that I don't necessarily know. Okay, so we were, so the four of us. And by the way, my brother-in-law, who I still to this day consider my brother, I miss, and she should never divorce, but we won't talk about that. So they went hunting. It was going to be my husband and my brother-in-law were bow hunting in Eastern Oregon, and actually over by Sisters. And we drove along this gravel road for about 12 miles to what's called Horse Camp. So people with horses could go there. We were in a very small campground. We were the only people there. And we were there. I remember the first night we set up and we were right along a creek, a small creek. And on the other side was a mountain, went up about, like that, up to the top of it. And it wasn't very high up, but it was up there a little bit. Trees all around the place. And of course, my brother-in-law and my sister had plenty of protection besides us having the bows. Stuart and Richard were going to be bow hunting. So Patty and myself were just going to be hanging around camp, although she is a hunter too. She actually shot an antelope at the bottom of the not Grand Canyon, it's a very steep canyon here in Oregon, and she packed it out herself, and it went into what's called the Boone and Crockett Book of Records for the size of antlers. Anywho, that's a whole different thing. But so she's trained in firearms. I had some minor training in firearms at that time. It's changed. I'm very current on my firearms training today. And my husband and my brother-in-law were very fearless people, are very fearless people. And my brother-in-law would be one of the people I would trust with wholeheartedly my life. Never questioned Stuart. He was outdoorsman. He knew everything about being out there. And again, we had lots and lots of weapons. So the first night, fine, we had campfire, we ate dinner and blah, blah, blah. And Patty and I woke up when they left the men left for hunting. And Brent and I either went and got in her tent or she came and got in our tent and brought a couple guns along with her. And when we went to the bathroom, which was right there, we still would take a weapon with us. And if whoever was in the bathroom, the other person would stand there with a weapon to guard the outhouse, because it just felt weird there. I'm just telling you, it felt weird to everybody. Everybody got this very dark feeling, if you will. I don't know if Richard would describe it as dark, but just not right. And there was, and that first night also, somebody came in with their truck and drove in there and kind of put their lights on our tents like 2 o'clock in the morning, kind of spun around a few times, left, and never came back. So they went camping, and my sister and I hung around the camp, and Brent toddled around in his little walker with his little cute little tiny short legs. I loved having him. I absolutely adore him. Xander James Iwahatten. Well, there he is. Oh, it's Brady. Okay, yes, Alex Brent told me something about you changing your name. I think you have a perfectly good name, Brady. I think your last name is perfectly good last name, honey, but it's your life. So anyways, we went through the day. Everything was okay, but it just still felt weird. And trust me, my sister and my brother-in-law camped all the time, hunted, fished. We camped, hunted, fished, blah, blah, blah. So that night, we had, we were preparing to go to bed. We had our dinner at a nice campfire. We were it. Nobody else come into that camp. There was no other campers. Seemed a little strange, but you know what? So what? It was quiet. Ouch. Oh, I just got a muscle spasm because of my neurological condition. Sometimes I get muscle spasms behind the back of my thigh, especially my right one. Oh my gosh. And to have it right now is not pleasant. All right. So it was about 11 o'clock and we were still up, and it was just it was just eerie, unnerving. And my brother-in-law just said, "Do you guys just want to pack up and go home?" And we're like, "Oh, hell yes." Excuse my language, but hell yes, we want to pack up and go home. Nobody else wanted to say it, but to hear him say it, of all people that I know, I'm like, something isn't right. This isn't just me being whiny, wimpy Lucretia. This is just me being me. This wasn't just me being scared. To have my brother-in-law, Stuart, say that, I knew something wasn't right. We never broke a camp down so fast in all of our lives. Everything in the back of the trucks. We had a smaller truck. We had a Toyota, like a Toyota Corolla. We had actually Toyota Corolla FX. So we didn't even have a truck. It was a hatchback. We had bought a new car. It's just a small hatchback, but that baby took us all over. They had the truck. So everything, we just jammed everything where we could get it, and we left that campground and came back to Eugene. So the fact of the matter is, it felt uncomfortable. I didn't want to really cry about it, but once Stuart was on it, I was like, yes, thank you, God. Thank you so much. Because, no. All right, let's go back up here. Yes, said hello to Traveling with Nate Dog, Linda Barker. Alfonso, I'm going to eat dinner. Hope to catch you later. You have a good evening, Alfonso. I'm so glad you came by. Oh, good. Brady's coming in too. That's it. That's what I saw. So 2 grandnephews are here. They're both, I think they're like 18, 20. I think they're older than I think. I had an encounter in 1984. Our daughter was not even a month old, and from about 10 foot up in a tree, by a tree, a bunch of bigger than baseballs was being thrown at us. Also common from Bigfoot. All right, and that's true. That is something that people always talk about, being things, baseball-sized things being thrown at them in the woods from nobody being there. Longview, I've driven through. My sister, my oldest sister, Linda, passed 5 years ago. She lived in Tacoma. So I've been up that freeway more times than I can count. So I've been by Longview many times. Good to see you, Brady. I am so glad you're here too, just like your brother. Glad you're here. And again, I love your other last name. You do what you have to do. It's the same book, just a different cover. He's written several books about aliens. Okay. I have a scary story to a week ago. At nighttime, I saw a shadow and it was walking back and forth, and I saw a face and I couldn't picture it, and it was a dark figure in my bathroom. Did you turn on the light? Was the light off? Because let's see. Darn it, that's itchy. So years ago, here's an experience I never considered to be an alien experience. But when I was about 18 years old, I was out of school. No, I wasn't 18 yet. Yes, I was, because I was very associated with a particular church. All right, so here's what happened. It was in this house. I was about 18, and there was these very nice young Mormon men who had come by to do the thing that they do every, when they go on their year-long thing. Can't remember what it's called. And I very was connected to a church, and I have strong faith. And I have faith that's strong enough. I've never felt like I needed to protect myself from hearing somebody tell me about their experience. Okay. A strong connection to the God of my understanding, and very Christ-centered in my biblical training. And so I listened to these guys, and I asked one fellow if he would like to come to listen to my church, and he was all for it. The next day, he was gone. They had moved him from his little place he was staying with about 1.5 miles from my house to Portland. And I found out about it after the fact, because the other guy, a couple of other people came by, and because I was on the scheduled stop, and they weren't him, and they said that he had been moved to Portland. So after that, I don't know the time frame, but in a short time frame after that, I was laying in my bed, twin bed. I had my head that could see out the hallway if the door was open, and in the hallway, and the light right down to the living room, about 20 feet, about 30 feet, I guess, from my head to the living room where my mother would have been sitting, 40 feet at the maximum. And I was all of a sudden, and on my life, this is it's bringing tears to my eyes because I remember it. It's like what I saw was 10 figures cloaked in dark, like dark robes and hoods up over their head. And I remember seeing that plain as day. And I turned on my night light beside me, and I jumped out of bed, and I ran out into the living room. And my mom and dad were still up, and they just said I was dreaming. I very well might have been dreaming. I don't know. But I'm telling you, I believe there was something in that room that night. I could be wrong. It's likely I'm wrong, that it's my mind and my eyes playing tricks on me. But then these young men, this new group of young men came back, not long after that, and we were looking through this book of theirs, and there was like this, these men that are the elders in the LDS church, and I have nothing against Mormons. I actually think they have a very strong family connection, and I've always respected that. I've never felt negative about it at all. Zero. So please do not hear this as a negative thing about LDS church, because I don't feel that way. But so we're flipping through this book, and there is this group of men in this picture, older men, much older men. and there was like 6 of them sitting and 6 of them standing. And for some reason, there was a mental connection for me between that picture and what I saw in my room nights before. Probably nothing connected. I don't know. All I know is I felt something very quickly and very strongly. So I don't know what that means. I always let that go because I had no proof of anything except my experience. So, Linda, okay, same book. Sorry, talked about that. So, did you talk to your parents about that? I'm curious, Aiden. Don't worry. You should see me spell. My writing, I should have been a surgeon. At the very least, a doctor, because my writing is so horrible. Hello, Linda. Glad you're here. Have you ever had any extraterrestrial experiences living there in Arizona? Were you one of the people that potentially saw the Arizona lights? That's very famous. Very famous. Thousands. They can't even deny it. Thousands of people saw that. Same thing happened in LA. Something very similar. It's very scary. Thank you, sweetheart. I very much appreciate that. As I was saying, you and your brother are 2 of the very sweetest young men there are. I just always what I always remember about both of you is just your sweetness and your exceptional manners. Okay. We packed up early, Linda, because my brother-in-law, who is someone who's not afraid of anything, and by the way, we had a gun for like everybody and sisters. I'm just saying, there was a lot of weapons in the camp that weekend. And for him he had been a Marine sniper in Vietnam. Stuart was a very brave man. He's still alive, as a matter of fact, but he's not my brother-in-law anymore, but he should be. I wished he was my brother-in-law still. I consider him my brother for life. So we had just had a really weird feeling about this place, and we were the only campers. It was outside of Sisters here in Oregon, off to if you're driving through Sisters, it's an east-west, and we were driving east. They were going to be hunting in a particular area, bow hunting, Richard and my brother-in-law, Stuart. And so we took a left and went up into this horse camp outside of Sisters, about a 12-mile gravel dirt road. And it was eerie. But for Stuart to feel that way, so we were there one night, we survived it. And the next night, it was about 11 o'clock at night, and we were still awake. And I think it was because nobody wanted to really go to bed. We just felt weird. And Stuart said, do you guys just want to pack up and go home? And like, hell yes, we want to pack up and go home. Thank God Stuart mentioned it, because none of us were, Richard and I weren't going to be wiener dog babies and say we wanted to go home. Not going to happen. And so for him to say it was very telling. He wasn't comfortable there. And if he wasn't comfortable, we were leaving. Now, I don't know what it was or why it was. I'm sure you can't. I can't either, because I love fall. Fall is my very favorite time of the year. My little sister, your Aunt Priscilla, we both love fall. 1 second here. Whoops. I have to send this out real quick. I love fall. And as a matter of fact, this weekend, so one of my nephews is leaving He's been dry camping about 15 miles. 15 miles as a crow flies from me up in the Coburg Hills. He's been dry camping, watching this property for about a year and a half, I would say. Maybe 2 years, actually, closer to 2 years. And so they now are moving on, and they're going to a place that is going to be providing them a house to live in, as opposed to the dry camping. So they're kind of done with dry camping, at least for now, to live in. You know, they've been living off grid for 2 years, so it's time to move on. So anyways, what I meant to say is that before they leave, this coming weekend, I'm going to go for a long drive with my nephew higher up into the Coburg Hills to get some. I put out one video. I hope y'all saw it. I put out one video of the drive. It just came out yesterday. And I will try to, I'll leave a link to it. If you haven't seen it, just go look for a link after this is all done. And we went for a drive, but it wasn't, I really was hoping they'd be there until fall, till more leaves were falling. But it's in their best interest to move on now. So the job is open where they're moving on to. And so I'm going to try to get some even better video than I did with this one. There's still a lot more that I haven't shown yet. I was breaking it up into several videos because I was up there for about an hour driving around, and nobody wants to watch an hour's worth of that. Oh, there goes the spasm again. Oh my gosh. I do not wish this neurological condition on anybody. It's very challenging to live with and have a life. Just saying. All right, so I can't either, sweetheart. I am right there with you. James, as you know, is your grandfather or great-grandfather's name, my father. So your name here, Xander James Ziwahatton, James is my dad's name. As you know, I know you know that. Naj, mission. Kepler 1, Xander traveling Nida. Okay. Hello. Yeah, very scary, very scary. It's sometimes things are hard to believe. I mean, I've even found myself thinking, could that really have happened to them? Why would that happen? Or, it doesn't change the fact that it happened. Yes. Just like I said, my father didn't really want to completely cop out to it, but he never said it wasn't true. He just wasn't going to be the one to talk about it. But my mother, she was plain as day about it. Hello, Timmy Ray the King. Welcome to you. So glad you're here. Please don't forget to leave a thumbs up. I very much appreciate it. Time travelers. So, time traveling. I had a friend. I lived in Salem for about 2 years and went to a community college up there. When I was first married to Richard, and I went to community college up there, I made a friend with a woman who was in a religious organization called Eckankar. And kind of that was something that they did. Now, I didn't need to participate in it personally. I'm fine where I'm at. But I remember Anne talking about that, and that she knew how to do that and had been able to do it. And she actually had information that I couldn't dispute and say, oh, she's just full of it. I couldn't dispute it. Now, can I explain it? No. But like you said, it doesn't mean that it's not true. Just because I don't have, or they don't have, or anybody else don't have a rational explanation for it, don't mean it's not true. I remember at night, my window and my blinds would be open, and someone said, I never knew something else was living with you. And I said, what do you mean? And they said at night, they could see a face. So was it somebody, must have been somebody that didn't live inside your house, obviously, a neighbor who saw that. I mean, that's an interesting thing. But guess what I do? I close my blinds and my curtains, my blinds. I am someone who at night, because I know people could be standing 10 feet away from your window and you not know they're there unless it's lit up really well. We do have security cameras around our house, and not because we got so much in it that somebody would want to steal, but because there's stupid people in the world today and foolish things happening. And that's why we have one of those doorbell things now where we can see people at the door. So close your blinds. Just a suggestion, Aiden, close your blinds. Yeah, weird stuff in the sky. In the Southwest, it's very well known. Okay, I don't know if anybody else here has watched what is the name of that ranch? Oh, gosh. The ranch in Utah. Richard, what's the name of the ranch in Utah? William Brody is here. Okay, well, tell them hello. I appreciate that. Yes, exactly. Like there were eyes watching from somewhere. It's a gut feeling, and now I do know from the travel world, if I don't feel good about a place, I'm not staying. I also heard some news how UFOs were leading to Mars and seeing weird stuff in Mars. Yeah, I've heard some stuff about the videos that we have from there. Yes, Hunter said, let's go. You run out and don't look back. 110%. Yes, I know who Mike-O is. He's got the coolest night vision gadgets that shows heat movement at night and clear vision. I would love to have one of those cameras. And I believe so does CVK. I didn't feel or smell anything with my encounter except the sense of being watched. That is, you don't even need anything else, but that sense, there's this thing that says, pay attention around you. Yeah, leave quick.1 foot, as I could not. I was 1 foot and it was with pitch black out. Had to just wait till daylight. Oh, good Lord. Terrifying. I have been with someone over 2 or 3 times. I have seen something both day and night. Daytime isn't as common, but why not? I keep getting told that people believe I believe that I've seen and had these things happen. I keep getting told that people believe I believe that I've seen and I had these things happen. Were these people that had heard you talk about it, Vicki? Ghostwalker Ranch. Yes, I absolutely believe. Here's what I do if I owned the place. All right, let's just be honest. Something's there. I don't know what that something is, but they're dragging their feet because I realize it means a lot more money to them. But if I owned that ranch, I would blow up Mesa. I would put dynamite in there. I would blow it up. I'm saying it's the wrong answer. Okay, I know it's the wrong answer, but I'm not good at waiting. Okay, people, I like to know yesterday what's going on today. And all of these years, and the fact that they have that metal through that one probe thing they put through the mountain, it's like, come on, rich owner who has access to getting clearance for things, blow up the mesa, or at least that side of the mesa. You're not going to miss it. Does anyone else agree with me? Like I said, I am not. Did you hear noises? hold still. I've got a call from my nephew who should be on here. Hello? What are you doing? I'm on a live stream. Nope. Okay. Well, give Richard a call, and if I don't have it at the top of my head either. But I'll tell him here in just a few minutes that you want to talk to him. And 2 of your grand cousins are on here, Aiden and Brady. Okay, just flip it on for a minute. And you have little kids with you, so I can just wave at them. All right. I love you. I love you. Bye. I'm gonna yell, so I'm gonna mute this for a minute. I'm unmuted now. I didn't realize I was still muted. He said, hi, boys. Aiden and Brady. Sorry for that. I don't think that these aliens care that people talk about them, because there's really very little we can do at this point. We don't know exactly where they're from. So I believe they're here. I believe they're right here on this earth in one form or another. And I don't think they care that we know they're here or that they're coming here periodically. I don't think they care that people remember being taken and examined. Yeah. What the end game is where I think most of us are, we have no way of knowing what their end game is, other than if they have this kind of advanced knowledge and abilities, then I don't think they need our permission. It would be nice if they would just call us teleconference and say, here we are, you know we're here, we know you know we're here. Let's just talk. I'm not sure why they don't do that. Okay, I'm not sure why they won't do that. And I'm not being sarcastic. I really wish that if they're there, they would actually sit down and talk to somebody. Not that they haven't, possibly. I did hear it as it came across a wide, deep creek. Oh, wow. My heart just palpitated at the thought of that. Even if it's not ET, it could have been a mountain lion or another predator. Yes, it could be. Yes, absolutely. It wasn't an animal throwing rocks, Naj. It could be, if it could be experienced, it seems I have experienced it. Yikes. It's one thing when an area feels creepy, but another when you hear sounds you don't know what it is. Well, hello, little. So I've got some sweet grand nephews out there, little tiny people. It's been a couple of it was their first days in school. That's why I'd never sleep in a tent. All right, Linda, I agree, but let's be honest here. There is nothing any of us have that's going to stop something from coming through the door or through, into it. Okay. If it is really extraterrestrial, or if it is Bigfoot, let's say that lighter, but if it is Bigfoot, I think he could come through the door of an RV. I don't want to scare you any more than you are, but I'm just saying. I think I'm unmuted now. Sorry about that. Me too. And okay, so I don't like, I listen to, when I go to sleep, on my TV, I got a smart TV, and I pull up YouTube and I listen to rain sounds that are dark. It's dark, the screen goes dark, but I love I love rain sounds. When I'm in the hospital, I do the same thing on my phone. I pull it up, although there's a channel in the hospital that's just very gentle music, and I also like that too. So I don't like to hear things that I'm not fully able to defend myself from. There are more than one type for sure. Some are hostile, some are not. We are not natives. Where the natives lived in the Iowa and Nebraska area, we're not hostile, okay? Now you should set it and string a bell. That's a good idea. Very good idea. Their technology is very good. Imagine if you could help us out with technology and get them on our side. I agree. Maybe they don't want us. So here's something posed to me just recently, is that maybe we've become too darkened by ugliness that they don't want us. They're trying to figure out why in the world we became so angry, hostile to one another, so violent and vicious. Maybe they're like confused. It's like, do we want to go down there and really tell them we're here? Because look what they do to each other that they know. That was posed to me as a question, and I'm simply saying I agree that maybe they just are like, I want nothing to really do with it. You watch too many movies. Oh, yeah. Got to be careful with movies. I'm someone who regularly has nightmares many times a week. I can't change it. I've tried many things beforehand. I think I'm going to start reading from Psalms before I go to sleep, because I've tried meditation, thinking positive thoughts before I go to sleep, and, it's not going away. All I can say is it ain't going away. Go through the government first, but the government covers it up. Yes. What? So why do you guys think that the government would cover this up? If it's true, okay, let's just go with the benefit of the doubt. It's true. There's something there, and something has been found. Why on earth, especially when thousands of people have seen things, why on earth would the government be covering it up, do you think? I have some ideas. My son-in-law has some ideas. Thank goodness he's not on here, because he has very angry ideas about the government. They are massive. They can rip a door off like nothing. Yep. That's true. I believe that to be true. If Bigfoot is truly real, I believe it has a capacity to do that. But Vicki, why do you think none has been found when we've had people deep backpacking in Alaska? The one guy who was on Mountain Men, who he's not on there anymore. Morgan was his name. He went through some hellacious mountains to get to where his land was, and he never saw never saw Bigfoot, never saw signs of Bigfoot. Here in Oregon, which highly, just like Washington, highly thought of as a place for Bigfoot to be. Why do you think we've never found Bigfoot, dead Bigfoots? Bigfoot, we found footprints, and I believe some of those are very real. I don't think they're faked by any means. But I'm curious what you think, why you think that we've never found any bones of Bigfoot. I'm on the fence about it. I think it could be, because I'm never now after, because I do think that there's aliens of some sort. Okay, I don't know what the intent is. I don't know what they are, but I think there's something. There's too many thousands of people who have seen UAPs and experienced things like a non-human thing. That are legitimate people, past polygraph tests, that they're just normal people, by the way, got nothing to gain from it and everything to lose. So if these two things may be real, maybe they're connected, maybe they're not. But why wouldn't we have found a Bigfoot skeleton by now? Because we have found things from hundreds of thousands of years ago, tens of thousands of years ago. Why not a Bigfoot? Yet Bigfoot drawings are on petroglyphs and other things like that. Okay, and I know that, so that's why I don't wash it off. Hello, Alley Cat Prepared Life. Thank you for coming in. I know you're a friend of Vicky's. That's where I've seen you. Thank you for coming by my house. So I don't know. It's a question why we've never found a Bigfoot skeleton. Bigfoot is intelligent, is what I think you're meaning. Oh, I believe so. Yes. Let's see what time it is. Oh, I've been on here a little longer than I thought. This is a conversation. Could be why they won't talk to everyone at once, the hostility. Yeah. That very well could be. I haven't watched a lot of UFO movies. They really, up until the last couple of years, I didn't believe it. I'd say the last 5 years, maybe 10 years. Okay, about the last 10 years. When the last person who I know, next to the last person I know that had an experience with it, and I know that he had nothing to gain. He would never in a million years come on and tell anybody his experience. But I've witnessed his story firsthand with me asking questions. And there's no reason to be lying. I don't believe he's lying. There's nothing about him that says he's making up a story. His story is consistent over the years. Yeah, we watch crime. That's what we probably need to stop watching. A lot of crime. Except that, oddly, Richard and I switch between crime and zoo shows. We love zoos. My birthday, I will be 62 on October 2nd. And I'm going to the Oregon Zoo if I have to go alone. Okay? I've already told Richard, the only thing I want for my birthday is a trip to the zoo. Oregon Zoo, 2 hours away from me. And hopefully our RV will be okay. And we can take it and we can spend the night somewhere. I don't want to be rushed. And so here's the deal. Because we are low income, we qualify for a very much a reduced rate, and disabled, like extremely reduced rate. Additionally, I can rent a riding wheelchair for like $30, $25, something like that. So I can do that. And I will not have to sit down every 15 feet. Okay. So reduced rate, I can rent a riding wheelchair. I can go to the zoo. So that's it. It's all I want for my birthday. I have trigger alarms that you sting from one to the other with fish line. String. Okay. Very smart. That's smart. Some based on true stories, some are just cool to watch. Yeah, of course. There's Elias and CJ. Oh my God. If I drop a link for them to come on and say hi, can they come on, Peggy? This is for one person right now. I'm going to drop a link. These two little boys I love so much. Elias and CJ are two of the sweetest little guys you could ever meet. I know a few of you have probably seen them on my channel because these are my grandnephews. And that's my niece-in-law right there, Peggy. I heard Elon Musk said in 224 that he's going to take 30 people to Mars and that he's not going to wait much longer. I don't know if that's true or not. You know, I don't know. I am an Elon liker. I like Elon Musk. I can't really say that too loud in my house. There's one person here who thinks he's crazy, but I don't think he's crazy at all. So Peggy, if you see that, please grab that link and just click on, and then I'll see you in the basement, Peggy. The government wants to lower the population. Nothing surprises me about the government. All right. Oh boy. Are you ready? Hi, CJ. Hold on. Okay. Are you ready? Here are the two sweetest little guys. I don't think I hear you. Check your microphone, Peggy. CJ's talking and I can't hear him.
Hold on. There you go.
I can't hear.
Can't hear still? Oh.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you, Billy.
Yes.
I can't hear. But there's Elias.
Hold on.
There's my nephew, William. And there's CJ. I just can't hear.
No.
These are two of them. Oh, there's CJ. Well-mannered little guys. I can't hear you. Can you see my ear? I'm pointing to your ear. I can't hear.
Okay.
It's their grandma and grandpa who's moving from off-grid to the grid. I can't hear anybody, and now I can't see anybody.
Hold on.
Those two little guys are golden. I would have them in my house every day, all day. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't hear you.
Okay.
Oh, I can hear you. Oh, it was my fault. Oh, Peggy, if you're still there, do it again. It was my fault. Oh, God. I'm so sorry. That I had something muted. Oh, my gosh. I'm going to drop it one more time. Since it was my fault, let's try it one more time. Whoopsie. So I think there's things out there we don't have the slightest clue about. And all right. All right. Hi, sweethearts.
Hi.
Hi, CJ. Hi, Elias. I see you over there too. Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay.
How's school? How was your first days of school?
How was school?
Good. Good.
Do you like your teachers?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, I just wanted, go ahead.
Look right here at the camera.
I
There's
miss
a
you guys.
delay, so it's weird for him.
I miss you guys.
All right, we'll let you get back to your show.
All right. I love you guys.
Love you.
They love you. Yep.
Love you.
Bye-bye.
Those two little guys are so sweet. Really could not have better little people. Okay, so the government wants to lower population. Nothing surprised me about the government. So I'm going to say something that's probably going to be it's off topic, but I'm just to reply to that, Linda, to Linda. So, and okay, don't hate me, don't unsubscribe for me. But my friend and I have been talking about this. Oh, and if my little sister's here, she will unsubscribe for me. So you know this drug law in Oregon where they decriminalize drugs? Decriminalize drugs, okay? And a spike in overdose deaths. Oregon is not the only place where there's a spike of overdose deaths, but I live in Oregon. This is a state I care about. It is the place where my ancestors drove wagon trains from Kentucky and other places to come here, okay, and are buried here. So I care about Oregon. It's my home state. And someone and I were chatting about what if not the local people or the people that even write these laws, but maybe there's a darker place in somewhere that they know this is going to happen. And this is taking tens of hundreds of thousands of lives across the nation. Why are not they intervening? Anyways. Yep, there went a couple people right off my channel. Uh-oh. Well, I just said, there goes a pretty bad spasm. So it was just a thought. It's a thought. And I'm not going to pretend like I don't think, when things don't make sense, they don't make sense. It was individuals that had a large number of people work with dome of the extraterrestrials. This planet would change and the greed would have no place. So that makes sense right there. If in fact it's real, makes sense. And greed, greed runs the world. Greed runs the world. The government has been working with 4 different alien beings and have been housing them for years. So that is something that I have heard more than one time. And from different sources from over a long time. And these people have nothing to gain, everything to lose. So as far as Bigfoots go, Peggy and Billy, maybe you have input here. Why haven't we found a Bigfoot set of bones? But like Vicky says, I don't know unless they eat their dead. So that's since that's out of our realm of thinking, we would have never thought of that. But that's something that's possible. Everyone wants us to be in control of everything. Oh, I know it. And trust me, I know, Naj, because I live in a state, it drives me crazy. Seriously. And I love Oregon. Oregon is so beautiful. Pacific Northwest is so beautiful, like many other parts of the country. But it feels less and less like home to me as an Oregonian and as someone who's been here my whole life. And I'm like a 7th generation or 6th generation Oregonian. It feels less and less like my home, if you know what I'm saying. Yes, Char, our economy works off greed or through greed. So what are the things my son-in-law, who is extremely smart fella, and I know he's not on here because he has put no input in and he would be talking. One of the things that Josh says, and I tend to agree with, is that it's not so much, so our economy is at the greed level is where it's the problem. It's that greed is in control now. It isn't that it's an open economy. That isn't of itself the problem. It's that it's been complete greed has been allowed to take control. And by the way, when you start, when the money lines start being tracked, like a tracker tracks, a wolf, which by the way, wolves are within 30 miles of me now. Yay! Sometime I want to see a wolf, but while I'm in a vehicle. Anyway, the thought of wolf just changed my pace. Works off greed. It will come back to me. It will come back. Oh, tracking. When you track it, at the top, there isn't a lot of people who are the pullers of the strings financially in the world. There's just not. And they're the ones who call the shots. You don't find bear dead or other animals. Well, I think I would have to look into that, because that's you're just making a good point. Sometimes we find deer bones, but that's usually because they've been harvested by other animals. So yeah, that's a good point. But we have found the remains of, oh gosh, what are they called? From prehistoric animals that we have found and put together. The archaeologists put together their bones back together. My brain just went dead, but Peggy, so do you have a theory on why we don't have never found the remains of a Bigfoot, like a fresh dead Bigfoot? But then I would say we probably have never found fresh dead bear either. I agree on that. So first of all, I'm not sure that those shows are my cup of tea. The one of them that I've seen, it seemed like it was just a goofy show, but doesn't mean that it was. But just it came across that way to me, and I know there are people who kind of think that about Skinwalker Ranch show as well. I absolutely believe Skinwalker Ranch, and Beyond Skinwalker Ranch is as good as well. They are scientists. These are people that are known scientists. These are not people that are just someone they pulled it off the street because they had a pretty face and are going to be the face of Skinwalker Ranch. No, these are people that are known to the community of science. But again, I agree with you, Linda. I'm not going hunting at night for Bigfoot or anything else. Well, and part of that, by the way, is because it is the fear factor, and that is one thing that pulls people in, is the fear factor. Or at least a big toe. A big toe at that. William Brody. Well, thank you. Thank you for coming in. I'm so happy you're here. I saw her earlier on, sweetheart. Maybe Bigfoot has the ability to travel through dimensions, earthways. They don't live on the plane we do. Might even be more spiritual than we are. You never know. I mean, again, I'm now more open to things. I think the older that I get and the different things that there are that have been shown, and the more that I've seen, I kind of go back to petroglyphs. I go back to carvings on walls that are thousands of years old. And they're dated, okay? I trust that. And they're too like exactly what our fighter pilots have seen, by the way. So similar in many ways. So nobody could tell me something is not there. They could tell me, but I'm like going, yeah, well, that's just because you're afraid. And fear. So we usually have human beings usually have one of two responses. Either we just go, okay, and we just shine it. Or we have fear response. We either accept something as it is, we shine it, or we have a fear response. And I think fear response is such a common response to what we don't know. I have fear response all the time to things. When I don't know what something is, sometimes my first response is fear, because fear gets my adrenaline going. It makes me want to protect myself. And if I think it's something that could harm me or someone else I know, and I don't understand it, fear is going to be one of the first things that comes up for me. I usually let my fear calm down, and then I go from there, because, by the way, fear is not a good way to be making decisions from, unless it's like a split-second type of decision. Yes, that's true. Things come out at night. I know that. I should have thought about myself. All righty then. As I said, you don't hear people finding bear bones or other animal bones. You're right about that. I'd really have to investigate that, but I think you're right. I don't, especially like an intact bear that was just killed or something. Like when I was saying, why haven't we found a Bigfoot intact? Like a lot, like he just died. Well, first of all, I think most of the places they would live, if they're there, is not where people are most of the time. And so, yeah, makes sense to me. I like crime shows. I am not quit watching. Richard and I watch a lot of crime shows. Richard watches more than I. There are some, we like true crime shows. Really haven't gone through, so the education that I have in psychology specifically, I really like, I like to understand why people are so ugly. There must be an answer. What happened to make certain people be as vile and inhumane as they are? Where does that come from? I took some child psychopathology classes that were very interesting, including in one video. So we got to see some videos, and I'll just say one video that I saw was of a very young schizophrenic child, for instance, which isn't evil. I don't mean to equate that. I'm just saying psychopathologies are many different things. So I'm just using this as an example. So I saw a child that was about 5 years old that was schizophrenic. Schizophrenia is not believed generally to start until late teens, early 20s. And yet this very young little child was definitely schizophrenic, and watched videos and interviews with this little person. So my point is, there's so many things we don't understand. We think we understand everything. Psychiatrists, criminologists, police, everybody thinks they understand everything. And very few, there's a lot of things, especially the really challenging things, I think we just don't, we have just a smidgen of understanding of. All right. Char of Heart. The closet. You want to say hi, Alexander?
Hi, everybody.
So, the closet I got to Bigfoot was bring out of the backcountry. I saw something, then had a dream of talking telepathic about the area and how people normally behave in nature. That is why. Very interesting. Very interesting. Did I hear the word chocolate? All right. Well, they won't deal with humankind. That could be very much the reason right there. There's humans I won't deal with. It felt real. What I saw was, but I only felt the fear people experience from seeing something large. So Yes, Char. I have felt that fear a few times in my life, besides the time camping. Okay, besides the time camping, I have just had this like fear, and I just felt it, and I respond to that. I do not pretend like it's not real, and I do what I need to do to take care of myself. And there is my niece and nephew-in-law, Peggy and William. Okay. I love my son. He is my heart. You know, that boy was that I call him a boy. He's 33. He was as planned as any child could have ever been planned. And when I was pregnant with him, finally, and we got all little baby clothes and they're all whatnot. I didn't even want or need a baby shower because I just wanted to buy everything myself. So, but several times I would just go get his clothes out of his little dresser and wash them and dry them and refold them. I know that that's crazy behavior, but I wanted him so bad, you know. If he goes hope, the Bill Gates too. Oh, him and Bill together. You hear them. We're Naj. I know where you live, Vicky. Travel mistakes. Oh, and by the way, I'm so sorry. I will figure. Hold on. Did I? Well, thank you, William. Thank you so much for that. That's very sweet. I don't. Hold on. I think I have something. I don't. All I can say is I'm so glad and I'm so happy. Thank you very much for that $1. I have also had a supernatural encounter seeing angels dealing with a load of demons on the attack. I was around 13 or just before 13 when I experienced that. Absolutely. And I think that, why is that? I'm trying to click. So I have read the Bible with training with a magnificent pastor, two actually. But the last one that I have that I still consider my home pastor from Eugene Faith Center. He is brilliant. He's very much a theologian, and so I've had the opportunity to be trained, what I call training, from one who was exceptional as well. When I first got saved and I started going to church about 18 to today, you know, and Pastor Steve Overton from Eugene Faith Center, you know, it's talked about angels and demons, and the Bible talks about it. And if the Bible says it, hear, hear, amen. I believe it to be true. And I believe that angels and demons can come in many forms, and I don't believe that demons come in the form of breathing fire and, you know, the devil ears. I think for myself, the few times in my life where I've dealt with what I felt was some kind of demonic energy, it was definitely not what one would consider a demon. Mom said it felt like in the house it was singing praises to God when I got up, told her what I was experiencing during my own praying. Oh, yeah, that would be wonderful. So, I'll tell you an experience I had. When I was living in, here we go with the chills again, a second experience. This would be more with angels and demons. So, there was a point in Salem where Richard was not there with me. And I lived our apartment was on the second story of a walk-up, outdoor walk-up. And it was, you know, I knew everybody that lived in it. It was a very small apartment complex. I had a boyfriend right before I met Richard that passed, that died. He was 31 years and 1 week older than me, or 10 years and 1 week older than me. So I'm going to be 6. I met him when I was about 30, 29, 28, somewhere in there, maybe 28. My gosh, how old was I? So, no, it was in my teens, my late teens. All right. He was like big like a mountain man, tall, beard. His name was Dallas. He had hair, like very curly hair, like to here. Big, strong guy. Anyway, he was my boyfriend right before Richard. And he'd been dead a number of years. And I was living in this apartment. We were living in this apartment. Richard was not there at the time. And it was nighttime. And I heard these clomping up these metal steps. There was like 8 to a platform, 8, and then you come up to 6 or 8, come to a platform, 6 or 8 more, and you're at, my apartment was right here, our apartment was right here, and somebody else's was over here. Okay, so our apartment, somebody else's apartment. And it's late at night, and I hear this clomping up the steps, and these jangling of keys, clear as a bell. And again, it's been years since my old boyfriend died. And that is exactly what he sounded like. I don't know how to put it any other way. I know I sound crazy. That's what Dallas sounded like. That's what Dallas would have sounded like going up the steps. It's like 240 pounds, 6'4", 6'3", something like that. Tall, big mountain man type of person. Carried a lot of keys. And I saw the shadow go in front of my window. My bedroom window faced out onto this stairway. And my lights were off. I was in bed. And I just held my breath. You know what I never saw? That shadow go back that way. I never saw that shadow go back and cross over and go down. Clomp, 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 clomp. Stop. Clomp, clomp, clomp. Walk in front of my window. Keys jangling. Nothing. So I called the police, and the police came. There was nobody around. I'm holding my breath. I grab my Bible, and I just go to sleep, literally, with my, I usually have that Bible near me, but I went to sleep with that Bible on my chest, or I fell asleep with it on my chest. So I wake up the next day. My car had been totaled. And it was a little 68 Datsun 510, or a little orange car, little box. A girl had turned incorrectly, a drunk girl, by the way, crashed into where the driver's side was and pinned my foot between my brake and the wall. I couldn't get out until they came and got me out. And here she's like leaning through my window. Oh, you turned in front. I'm like, I'm not going to say it, but it was not a pleasant exchange, and she should be lucky that I couldn't get out of my car. So anyways, days pass, this happens, my clump, clump, clump things happens. That next day, I get a call, and it says, I hear your car is for sale, or I see or I hear your car is for sale. Your Datsun is for sale. And I said, no. Where'd you hear that? Or it was before that? Oh, this is why it's bone tingling. So before this happened, a day or two before this happened, that's what the scary part was, is I got this call, and somebody said, it was before the accident, I hear that your car is for sale. And I'm like, I don't know where you heard that, but no, it is not for sale. It's my only car, and it's perfectly fine. Have you? And so then the whole thing with the clump, clump, clump happens. And then right after that, within the next couple days, is when my car gets totaled. Someone calls me, tells me, I hear your car is for sale. You're crazy. My car is not for sale. Clomp, clomp, clomp up the stairs. Sounds like my ex-boyfriend. Never goes back the other direction, by the way, nor do I hear him jump off the edge. And then the car accident. So I'm just saying, mysterious things happen all the time. Very mysterious things. What time is it? Oh gosh. Supernatural encounter, seeing angels dealing with. Okay, so I think an angel was trying to tell me to get rid of my car. I didn't listen. Mom said it felt like the house. Okay, I remember that. Oh, thank you, William. I appreciate that. I believe I'm friends on your end as well, dear. I do lots of different things here. Whew, some weird things in the world. All right, so it's 5:32. Could someone, do I have anybody here who is a moderator? Let's see. Because if so, if you could see if there is a live stream going to happen for Following the Yellow Brick Road. I'm just going to try and get back into my channel. Okay. I'm not going incognito. What in the heck? All right. Turn off incognito. I don't know why it hit incognito. My channel on my phone is not letting me really get into anything. It's just really weird. Huh. Really weird. Okay, Campgoer 1, would one of you mind checking to see if Following the Yellow Brick Road has a live stream coming up at 6 o'clock? If so, drop the link for her. Even though I'm going to have to go a little earlier. Okay, thank you. I'll look at that. Did you want it for me to show it on here? Campgoer 1? I did see her when she came in. She may not be here anymore. Okay. Watch it. It's weird. Okay, I'll watch it. One of my best friends in life goes clear back to being a little kid. He keeps me informed on different things, and he is extremely smart, much smarter than me, and very, very well informed on things. Yeah, I guess, I mean, that's totally possible, because that's always been a question, Peggy, is why haven't we found the bones like we found of what are those animals we have found and have put back together again from thousands of years ago? Why am I struggling to think of them? Because it's going to be embarrassing when somebody tells me what it is. Yep. There have been many people I've talked to who've had supernatural experiences along with other people. The World Bank, of course, that is a different story, my dear sweet niece-in-law, but yes, I'm not a fan. Najaqui, I wish I could have directly shared that experience because the energy stuff. House really high for days or a week or so. I remember when I first got saved, I had a very supernatural experience with that, and for years as a young woman, I saw and felt things very differently through that salvation experience, and I'm very grateful that I had that experience the way I did, because there's nothing I know that I know because I know. That's all. I know that I know because I know. I felt it. I've seen it. I was in a church in Cresswell one time. Cresswell is a little town south of where I live. And there was it was a nighttime service, and there was a candlelit nighttime service, which we had once in a while. And sitting few rows behind me, maybe 3, this man stood up and basically said he was from the devil, and he went into this very, very bizarre diatribe, and these other men from the church jumped over the pews and grabbed him and helped him out. They got him out of the church. They stood around him and they prayed over him. I truly don't remember what happened from there. I remember them putting hands on him and praying, but it was terrifying. I could tell you I was 18 because that's when I was involved in that church, and I was terrified. But then I felt a very strong sense of peace and calm come over. But when he stood up, jumped up, and started spewing this stuff, these words, I was scared, truly scared to death. Dinosaurs. I hope the little guys didn't see me be so stupid. Dinosaurs. We have found dinosaurs. There are dinosaur bones. Now, granted, and they're buried deep. So if we have found dinosaur bones, I have to ask the question, why have we not also found Bigfoot bones? It just is a reasonable question to ask. Again, we don't know how they dispose of their own. Just because others didn't witness it doesn't mean it didn't happen. 110% true. Isn't that amazing? That's amazing. Well, thank you for coming back, because you know what happened. That's all that matters in the long run. Nobody else has to believe. Other carnivore, they're on the real carnivore diet. Yeah, no, that's true. Maybe Bigfoot bones were found but covered up by... That's true too. That's very true. I love abnormal psychology. I do.
They bury the bones of their dead.
And Brent just said, Brent just said maybe they bury the bones of their dead. I love you too. One thing I learned that my psychology degree didn't teach me: never turn your back around behavioral health clients. Learned lesson learned, a smack in the... Oh, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry, Linda. Yes, you don't turn your back on behavioral health clients. Oh, I lost a lot of my fears because of my experiences. You're right, Lucretia. I think mine had not been alone experiences or God's reactions and interventions. You know, sometimes it's just, I have to learn how I have to learn. I can be a tad on the stubborn side, obnoxiously controlling. So my fear became different in the level of intensity. So what I trust today is, I trust God, and I think that man and God do not have necessarily the same intentions in this world. And I trust less what I see in many ways than what I see in a spiritual way. That's why I have faith that we could have these other things going on. I accepted Christ at an early age back in the summer of 1997 during a Bible camp. I was 13 at the time. I was told that I was way too young. I wonder why somebody would do that. I've never heard, I don't know what religion it is that would tell somebody they're too young to accept Christ. I thought you are 36. Now you look too young to be. Yep, I will be 62. 6'2". I wish I was 36. I wish with all my heart I could go back in time. There's so many things I would do different. So many things I would do different. One of them is I would work in a zoo. I would work in a zoo. I would love to be a zookeeper. You know what I love in the zoo? I love rhinoceros. I do. They are so sweet. Rhinoceros and giraffes are so sweet. I know. That's why I've never, there's no age. And oh, by the way, woe to the person who tells a child they can't accept Christ. Do not be a stumbling block. What I heard that lesson loud and clear. Well, remind me when I was at my parents' house after they died. I was in my bedroom trying to go to sleep and heard a thud on the wood floor like someone big had fallen on the floor. Yep. Things happen. My dad had died in, oh gosh. I'm so sorry, Linda. I really am. Things happen, the way that they happen. Many years ago, my Brent was about 20 or about 18, maybe about 18. And we were in our bedroom. Richard and I were across from my father. Brent was not home. He was out with friends. We heard a loud thud, like the house shook. And it shook hard. And Richard and I looked at each other and we thought maybe Brent had come home and he had hit the garage, the side of the house when you're pulling into the garage, because it was that kind of thud. My dad's bedroom door was open about, about a third of the way. And so Richard went out towards the garage to look out there, and I went straight across. Then I said, Dad, I opened the door a little bit. Dad does not come to the door. And I walk in his room, timidly, and I thought maybe he was in the bathroom and had fallen, and his bathroom is around to the left. And I peek around the corner, and what I saw was his feet. So he was clearly laying on his back, and I go all the way around, and there he is. He is on his back. His glasses had fallen off and had hit his clothes closet doors, and he was non-responsive. I went over. His eyes were wide open. They were fixed. They were not responding. I called 911. I'm screaming for Richard. I called 911 and I jump over on my dad. I straddled him just like I played softball for like 7 years. I was the catcher. I was always catcher. So I straddled him like being catcher. And I knew nothing about chest compressions, guys. Nothing. I had never had any training in anything. But my dad was gone. And I jumped on him and I called 911. I was doing chest compressions and the best that I knew to do them. And Richard was in the room by then. And I'm like, I told him what happened. And they said, they told me how to do them correctly. And I was doing them. Richard started to do mouth to mouth on him because we'd always seen TV shows. And I said, my husband's doing mouth to mouth now. She said, did I tell you to do mouth to mouth? No. She said, don't do mouth to mouth. That could cause him to regurgitate into his lungs. So Richard stopped automatically. And I did the chest compressions, 100 exactly, till the firemen were through that bedroom door. And then they took over from there. It took them 3 shocks of him to bring him back. So it's a terrifying thing. It's a horrible thing to find your parent laying on the floor. It was I'm sorry that your father did not make it, but it's such a terrifying experience. That almost seems like when it might have happened to my dad, because it was before I started college. I still need my. All right, so Vicki needs 2,000 hours. Is there anybody here who would be willing to run her playlist, please? And before I hang up, I always say hang up. That's because I'm an old person. If there's anybody here that needs their hours ran, or do you need anything for your channel, please drop that. Just put it in the drop the information in the chat. But if anybody would be willing to run Vicki's playlist, could you let Vicki know, please? William Brody. They are normally on tonight, but they're hitting the road. Okay. All right. Thank you for checking, both of you. Yeah, I didn't get one either, and I normally would get one for her. Harris is on. Listen, she says. Harris is on it. Okay. Fairy Dust, well, hello to you. How are you doing tonight? You're my first live. Phone was stuck for a few days. I've missed a few. I've missed a few. It's hard. It's hard to go to every one that I want to go to. But I'm glad you're here, Bernie. Okay. And they're so big, so the graves could be very deep. That's very true. I put all my trust in God too, dear. And weekend RVing. Well, hello. Thank you for stopping by if you're still here. I'm so glad you're here. It's been a long time, but I'm glad you're here tonight. We're kind of talking about weird stuff, but I just decided to do it. And for some reason, I started thinking about UFOs, UAPs, whatever we want to call them today. So you're baptized when you're 10. So my parents, who were not religious, I did not get a religious upbringing. I got a moral upbringing, but they did not attend church. But for some reason, they baptized me in the Lutheran church in the small town they lived in Veneta, which is west of here towards the coast, which I have nothing against. I mean, I was baptized in the Lutheran church, but then I was not sent to Lutheran church, no other church. And so I chose to be baptized when I was 18. That's when I chose baptism. Yes, very glad that Millie and James are here. All right, so I've been on here a long time now. It seems like usually there's a timer that says how long. So I came on at 3:30, so almost 2.5 hours. So is there anybody else who's going live after this? And this is not about travel mistakes, but I could not for the life of me remember where I go change that. Honestly, I'm embarrassed to say it, but you know what? How do you learn if you don't ask for help? If there's somebody who could easily tell me where, I've obviously put many little messages there over the years I've used this. And for some reason, it just slipped what's left of my mind. And, oh, by the way, for my birthday, like I said, all I want is to go to the Oregon Zoo. I'm going to the zoo. And if I'm able to, I'm going to live stream the zoo. If I can, if they will let me, I will live stream the zoo. Because there's, I'm not going around the snakes. I just want to tell you, I'm not going around the snakes. I am psychologically terrified of snakes. I've always said, I'm terrified of snakes, beyond rational terrified, and I'm not sure. Well, I had a snake thrown on me when I was a little girl, and the boy was so sweet. He thought he was playing. He did not know he was going to traumatized me for the rest of life. You know what the kid, he was named Kevin on Wonder Years. Kevin on Wonder Years, he looked just like him. His name was Vernon, and he looked just like Kevin on Wonder Years. He was my first crush, and I was about 5 years old. Let's see if there's anything else that I need to be aware of. I would have interaction with him before I knew what we call God. I started learning at Sunday school around 6. Relation with him grew as I grew. Amen. It's like I said, I know that I know that I know. I know. I've been saved from so many stupid decisions in my life. And it was God shots that did it. What did I miss about Camp Goer 1? I'm almost done here. Did I miss something, Linda? Because I could work on her hours. Okay. Thank you, Char, for working on some of her hours. I will run her. I'll try to run her playlist. I'll have Alex run it tonight because he's up way later than me, and it kind of interferes. We've got 3 people using high internet here: me, Alex, and Josh. Thank you, William. Thank you, Alfonso.
Tell William I thought he was coming over today.
Wrong William.
Oh, wrong William. Darn it.
He was on here earlier, though.
Well, maybe he's watching.
Maybe he's watching. William, my nephew William, Billy, Alexander said he thought you were coming over. Charvehart, I want to get to 500 so I can share out channels now. I will try to do so more often. I want to get to 500. So Char, where are you at? How much do you need? So here's what I am going to do quickly. So if somebody could drop Char's and Vicky's playlist. Char, I'm going to go look up your channel real quick. Char of Heart. There we go. 282. Okay. All right. So I'm going to share this real quick for a moment. I must have missed something, and I'm so sorry if I did. Okay, so Camp Goer 1 needs 400 or more friends to reach 1,000. Okay, so here is something I was taught. Down here on the bottom, if there's somebody you see here, write their name down. Okay, just if you can, write their name down, pull up a tab, whatever, and go check them out. A couple of videos, make sure you watch them. It's always helpful, and I found this out because I didn't have one. I didn't start out with a just a channel video, and I need to make a new one since I'm no longer. It's just me, and I had one for Richard and I, and Little Patty Cake, but since it's not Richard and I doing the channel together, I don't have one. So, if it's always just saying, it's wise to have a channel video so people can go to that real quick and watch it. You know, about maybe 2-3 minutes long, or a minute, even a minute and a half, 2 minutes long, something that you have up there. All right, thank you for. Yeah. Nope, I was not. Your dad was a licensed minister. Oh, wow. Um, I did not have that upbringing, but I had a moral upbringing. As far as what I say always, my mother had a mental health problem. I understand that in retrospect. I absolutely love my mother, and I have made peace with there was abuse, physical and verbal, emotional, psychological, spiritual abuse. I didn't catch as much of it as my older sisters did. Many of my older sisters, because I have sisters old enough to be my mom, and they caught a lot of it. My mother and father, she was 15 when she got married, and she was just extremely temperamental. And so my oldest sister caught a lot of crap. And so anyways, it took years for all of us. She ended up having six daughters that went through various levels of abuse. And like I'm next to the youngest. I think my mother, because I'm the original stand your ground girl. Okay. I made a decision and I stood my ground, and that was it. Nobody was moving me from that ground. So I believe there was something in my mom that was wise enough to know she would have had to have really hurt me bad in order to force me to do something. And thank you, God, that did not happen. So anyways, but my dad was very moral and very upright person. And we're very lucky to have had my dad and my mom. Now that I understand I got many lessons from my mom that were good. She wasn't always like that, you know. She was like a lion with her daughters to protect us. She would have killed somebody, and that's not necessarily good. I'm not recommending that. I'm simply saying my mother had very little control of her emotions, and so if she thought somebody hurt us, boom. But then as she thought, like I got beat up one time by a couple of girls, and I came home, I was like 12 years old, and she said, did you do anything back? And I said, no, I said, and it was two of them. And she goes, and I'm going to quote my mother, okay? You either go kick their ass or I'm going to kick yours. So years jumped years forward, and she's teaching me to drive, which should never happen, but she made me rear end somebody. She did, because this person took our parking space, and I'd been waiting for it for a long time at Weimar. And someone swooped in and took it, and she said, you rear end them. And I was like, what? Mom, I didn't have a driver's license. I got a permit. She goes, you rear end them. And I knew what it meant to go against my mother. So I rear-ended this lady, not horrible. I mean, I didn't like smash her, but let's see what I'm just saying what we were dealing with as kids. But I forgive my mom, and I love my mom, and I appreciate that my mom struggled hard, and she should never have had 6 kids. She should never had any kids. I'm glad she did, though. And getting rid of us was not an option. My little sister, my mother was told to abort. And because her uterus wall was so thin, they felt that she could, if she had Priscilla, that the placenta would rupture and Priscilla, they both would die. And my mother just basically gave them the finger. And I'm sure she literally did and said that to them. And no way was that happening. Oh, you're welcome, Victoria. Victoria is one of the sweet people on the internet, is all I can say. And I support her the best I can. I do the best that I can too, Victoria. And I always wish you well, and I always mention you. Okay, I have 282, had 287, but YouTube. So I've had that. I'll show you what I had happen too. I've had that happen. Okay, I've had that happen. So anybody who's going to listen to the hours, thank you so much. So a few times over the years that I've worked on this, so the few years that I've been working on this, I'm going to just pull up something from my channel here. I've had times where I was like at whatever number, and then I look at it and boom, I'm down to nothing again, or it feels like I'm down, I'm down 5 or down 7 or I'm down 3. Someone did tell me, stop looking at your numbers. Really, stop looking at your numbers. It's going to drive you crazy. So I'm going to pull this up before I leave, which, by the way, I'm going to thank people for being, for coming to listen to my videos, listening to, watching live streams, watching videos, watching shorts. So now, right now, I am sitting at 1,569 subscribers. And this is what this has looked like for me since I started. So I'm going to put this, the lifetime of my channel. And that's how it looked for me. It went up pretty, the first 1,000 I did from about right here, middle of February, and I had 1,000 by the middle of August. February, March, April, May, June, July. So 6 months. I did nothing but work on this. And I didn't have a job. I'm disabled. I don't have a job where I have to be somewhere every day. And I wanted to get to 1,000 just for me. I never really thought I would do anything with this. I never thought in 1,000 years that I would be sitting here doing a live stream in front of 12 or 10 or 5 or 3, or whatever, But it's been a slow rise. Okay. It's taken me, so from about August of 2020, 1,000 to August of 23 to get 559 more. So I really want to be 2,000 by Christmas. I do. I want to be 2,000 by Christmas, but guess what? I'm not going to die if I don't get to 2,000 by Christmas. But my point is, there's been days where, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to go back here to a week, last 7 days. So I'm 1,569. Let's do the last 28 days. Okay, it shows it better here. So here I was at 1,559, and then I dropped down to 1,557. 1,559, drop down, kind of go along 1, 2 at a time, and then back up, 1,564. And then it just keeps moving upwards. So it's been my experience that I can lose a few, and then as I'm diligently doing live streams, I'm diligently I'm trying to do more content. And by the way, I have gotten several subscribers from my shorts. Oddly enough. All right, so I think I'm going to have to, is there anybody that I've missed saying hello to? I've worked very closely with Victoria with her music. Very good, Alfonso. Well, you absolutely cannot go wrong with Alfonso and his music helping you. All right. Our sharing tonight made me feel closer to our family tribe members. I know we had a lot in common, and we have more than we can put into words. Amen. 110%. I don't think I'm drawn to people who don't have something similar, some similar things underneath. Because, you know, I don't ever make it a, you know, I'm a woman of faith through and through. And because I have faith in the God bigger than myself, bigger than everybody else, I trust things are always going to be the same. And that he's going to lead me to good people. If I had Wi-Fi, I would go back to live streams. Oh, yeah, it's important. It's very important. And I will go, I'll look at more of your videos, Shar. I'm going to pull up your channel right here. I'll make a commitment of watching a few of some of your videos, what you have up for videos. I have to get rid of this right now, and go back over here. Whoops. And watch some of your videos. And we will, maybe if you'd like, we can do an interview. I've never interviewed you. I need to look more at your channel. Well, thank you, Alfonso. I appreciate that. You know, at times I feel very old. So thank you. I appreciate that. And a big bear hug back to you, my dear. I tried. That's, you know. All right. So we are now at a solid 2.5 hours. So I'm going to go because I've not eaten what I ate today. You know what's coming in good for us? We've got some grapes that my dad had planted years ago, and Richard keeps up. They are so sweet. And the little tomatoes that we have, you know, we planted a couple things. We planted a couple things. Stripe, I will need all support. Well, if I know you're going live and I'm able to come there, William, I will be there. I try to support, well, I do support everybody that I know. Okay. And when I can, you know, like sometimes I don't get to go to all of Vicky's, you know, it just, I'm generally in bed at 7 o'clock at night to deal with my pain. Those spasms you saw me have, or some of you saw me have, those are a consequence from sitting, and they're very painful. And so I go to bed early because I just have to. And I do watch some things when I go to bed, but usually I do all of my YouTube stuff during the day. So there's a lot of people I miss at night, but sometimes I will still turn them on if I catch them. You too. God bless everybody in this room, and stay safe. So stay healthy, stay safe. And I always say this, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Find your passion, whatever your passion is, and it's individual to each of us. Find your passion. Live your passion. My passion is people. You're part of my passion. I love my viewers. I love the people I've made contact with. I enjoy this. I have a small group, but I enjoy my small group. And I get, you know, I just get chills when I'm getting ready to have a live stream, and I wonder who's coming this time. So find your passion, live it out. All right. In the meantime, stay healthy, stay safe, and love each other.